Hi there, this is Madhav. Today we are going to learn multiple choice. In IELTS reading, multiple choice type question is very important. Sometimes it may create some difficulties. Today at the end of this session, we will learn the common trend, skills to be tested, the strategies, some strategies how to solve this multiple choice type, the common mistakes we do, the candidates do, and at the end we will sum up the session. As you know, there will be 40 questions given for your IELTS test. So you see 4 questions are given. The first 4 questions as your multiple choices, and so there are other set as well, like 31, 33, and then 34 to 39, and then 40. So in total there are 4 sets of questions, but this type of questions are given in the beginning. There is a reason. So they want you to read almost at least half of the passage, or in some cases 2/3 of the passage, to get an overall idea from the passage. Similarly, if we see another one, test 4, passage 2. So from passage 1 there were 13 questions, and for passage 2 these questions like from 14 to 25, but the first set 14 to 18, these questions are given in the beginning. So what they want you to read almost entire the passage, or at least half of the passage, so that you get the overall idea from the passage. So this is the trend. So we need to understand and remember, or you can set your mind that in your IELTS test the multiple choice could be in the beginning of your test, but the trend is you may find this type of questions in the second or in the third passage. Let's see what reading skills we need to solve multiple choice questions. To solve this type of questions, we have to understand the main idea of the whole text, so that we understand the purpose of the text, what could be the possible heading of the text, and there is another main reason for multiple choices, so that we can find the specific information from the passage. Also, we need to understand the location, the correct location, so that we can find very quickly and answer the questions, especially the multiple choices. There are some common strategies to solve the multiple choice questions. You can get this the strategies from the website, from the YouTube. They are in fact very common. You need to read the questions carefully, and you need to underline the keywords, and you need to find those keywords from the passage. You need to match the keywords with the passage, and you have to find the relevant part for your correct answer. But I'm going to give you a very effective strategies. If you really follow them, I hope from now this can change your mindset for your IELTS test. I'm going to give you the steps of the strategies. I hope if you follow the steps, you can find the answers very quickly. First of all, skim all the questions to get the general ideas. When you practice, even in the exam, cover the choices, the alternatives, with a piece of paper or anything, and read the stem only. Focus on the content words like nouns, verbs, etc., and the word that qualify the stem. Distinguish between the general topic, the general idea of the passage, and the scanning words. Look for the qualifying words like much, more, higher, and the modals like must, may, should. Look for the words that add qualities. Predict if you can. This is a very good skill for your multiple choice types. If you follow this, I hope this is how you can find your answers very quickly. So for your better understanding, I'm going to solve 4 of the multiple choice questions from Cambridge 11, page number 51. There are 4 of the questions, as you see. So as I said earlier that what you have to do, we have to skim the general idea. So what do you think, what is the general idea of this passage? The best thing is that you can read the heading of this passage. It is about neuroaesthetics. So if you don't understand what is neuroaesthetics, we can read the first sentence or a few sentences, first couple of sentences. An emerging discipline called neuroaesthetics is seeking to bring scientific objectivity to study of art and has already given us a better understanding of many masterpieces. So it's kind of a science to understand the art and for better understanding for many other masterpieces. So what I have to do, we have to, as I said, as you see there are 4 of the options A, B, C, D. What do we have to do? We have to cover it with a piece of paper. Each time we cover the 4 alternatives. Each time you read the question, you cover the 4 alternatives, and then question number 30, you read the question and cover the alternatives. That's the first thing. So the first one, 27, it is about the second paragraph. The writer refers to a shape matching test in order to illustrate A, B, C, D. What? Which one? So that's our job, to read first of all and to identify, to understand. As I said earlier that the strategy is back of your mind, you need to know the general idea, and then as soon as you read this, read the question, the stem, not the alternatives, try to infer, try to guess, and then after having reading, the stem part, after guessing this, we will try to find it. The best part of this question, it is given already in the second paragraph. So you don't need to scan even, you don't need to even skim. So you can jump to the second paragraph. This is the second paragraph. The second paragraph starts with a question. So I read the stem again. In the second paragraph, the writer refers to a shape matching test. Why writer refers it? In order to, it means why. What was the purpose? So first thing first, we have to read then. After, as soon as you read the question, now you can jump to the passage. So if we start reading the paragraph, then in the beginning you see there's a question. There is a less chance that you get your answers in the question part. There is a question in the beginning, you see. In the beginning there is a question. The first sentence with a question. So less chance to get your answer there. So if you even skip it, no problem. If I skip and if I read it, skeptics believe that people claim to like such works simply because they are famous. We certainly do have an inclination to follow the crowd. So inclination to follow the crowd. When asked to make simple perceptual decision such as matching a shape to its rotated image, for example, people often choose a definitively wrong answer if they see others doing the same. So in the previous sentence we have read, we certainly do have an inclination to follow the crowd. And here it is said in the same way, people often choose a wrong answer if they see others doing the same. And the last sentence, it is easy to imagine that this mentality would have even more impact on a fuzzy concept like art appreciation, where there is no right or wrong answer. So now if I go back to the question to check that what writer infers, what writer refers to a shape matching test. So I am going to read the A, B, C and D. A says the subjective nature of art appreciation. I think we can eliminate this option easily because it is all about the subjective nature. Number B, the reliance of modern art on abstract form. I didn't find anywhere the modern art on abstract form, so we also can eliminate B. Number C, our tendency to be influenced by the opinion of others. I think this could be the answer, but I also can read the D, a common problem encountered when processing visual data. I don't think we find it anywhere, a common problem, the visual data. Rather, we found two sentences. One is, we certainly do have an inclination to follow the crowd, and in other sentence we found people often choose a wrong answer if they see others doing the same. So the answer should be number C. We are going to solve another one, 28. The same way, we will cover all the alternatives, all four alternatives, and we will read only the STEM part, the STEM, S-T-E-M. Angelina Holly Dolan's findings indicate that people. So it's all about the findings of a research. So it's easy to find Angelina Holly Dolan's from the paragraph. It's very easy because we have read already the second paragraph. Now definitely we will jump to the third or the fourth. Interestingly, in the third paragraph, in the very beginning, we find the name Angelina Holly Dolan. So we have to find the findings, the results of a research. Generally, the research results can be found at the end of any research, not in the beginning. So if we read the third paragraph, it's like Angelina Holly Dolan of Boston College, Massachusetts responded to this debate, and there are so many sentences, and at the end it seems that the viewer can sense the artist's vision in paintings even if they can't explain why. So I have read the first one to understand whether it is Angelina's research, and so what do we need to do? We need to find or search Angelina's research result. So as I said earlier, that you may find the results at the end of any research. So in fact, I have read the last sentence and I found that the viewers can sense, can understand the artist's vision in paintings even if they can't explain why. As you know, in IELTS you have very limited time. It's wise to read less and to infer more, guess more, to find especially the multiple choice type. So the first one, mostly favor works of art which they know well. So in terms of favor, if I think about the result, I didn't find anything about the favor or their preferences. So number B, hold fixed ideas about what makes a good work of art. B could be, but I'm not sure. Let's read C. Are often misled by their initial expectations of a work of art. Whether they are misled by anyone, it could be, but the last sentence doesn't say anything whether they could be misled. Number D, have the ability to perceive the intention behind works of art, I mean any paintings. So if I read the last sentence, it says, it seems that the viewer can sense, can understand, can perceive the artist's vision in paintings. I think out of B and D, D is the correct answer. Let's solve another one. As I said, initially you don't need to read the 4 alternatives. What we're going to do, we will just read the stem. Results of studies, studies means any research. Results of studies involving Robert Pepperell's pieces, art pieces, suggests that people A, B, C, D. This question is similar to the previous one, 28 results, and the last one was like findings, and it was all about Angelina's art piece, and the same thing, Pepperell's pieces. So the question is, the stem is, results of studies involving Robert Pepperell's pieces suggest that people A, B, C, D. The same way, we will read the end of the paragraph to find the result. If we read the first one, the first sentence, an artist based at Cardiff University creates ambiguous work that are neither entirely abstract nor clearly representational. In one study, Pepperell and his collaborators asked volunteers blah 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 blah. So it's all about the research. So if we read the last sentence, it would seem that the brain sees these images as puzzles, and the hard part, it is to decipher, to understand, to interpret the meaning. The more rewarding is the moment of recognition, the more harder to understand. So at the end you get the momentum, you get the reward of the findings of the result. So if we find A, B, C, D, and if we read A, B, C, D, I think we may get it very quickly. Number A, can appreciate a painting without fully understanding it. So without fully understanding it, no, I think it's like the last sentence is basically, the harder it is to decipher the meaning, the more rewarding is the moment of recognition. It's not about A. Number B, find it satisfying to work out what a painting represents. Yeah, since it's rewarding, maybe number B could be the answer, because B says find it, people find it satisfying to work out what a painting represents, to understand a painting. People find it satisfying, and the same thing says here, they find it rewarding. But again, we need to check C and D. Vary widely in the time they spend looking at paintings. No. Number D, generally prefer representational art to abstract art. It's not about preferences. It's all about they were prized, they were rewards. So yes, I think number B should be the right answer, because people find it satisfying to work out what a painting represents. And if I read the last sentence, it's same thing. It would seem that the brain sees these images as puzzle. So people love to solve puzzle, and the harder it is to decipher the meaning, so the harder the harder the puzzle is, when you solve it, you find the real fun, you find it exciting. So this is what it says here. The harder it is to decipher the meaning, decipher means interpretation, translating something, understanding something. So the harder it is to decipher the meaning, the more rewarding is the moment of recognition. So out of the 4, this is the last one. We are going to solve the last one, number 30. The same way I said earlier, read the stem only, not the alternatives A, B, C, D. You don't need to read them. Read the stem only first, what it said, try to understand. What do the experiments described in the 5th paragraph suggest about the paintings of Mondrians? It's all about the paintings of Mondrians and the description. So I would suggest, rather than reading the last line of the paragraph, and the best part is it is already said, the 5th paragraph. So we had like the first 4 and this is the 5th one, so it's easy to identify. Here what we have to do, we have to read gradually from the very beginning and at the end. So if we read the first one, it said, and what about artists such as Mondrian, whose paintings consist exclusively of horizontal and vertical lines encasing blocks of colors? So it's like horizontal lines and then vertical lines and encasing blocks of colors. So it's like a lot of, you find many blocks of colors. It starts with a question. That's interesting. And then the later one, the second sentence, Mondrian's works are deceptively simple, but eye tracking studies confirm that they are meticulously composed, very carefully composed, and that simply rotating a piece radically changes the way we view it. With the originals, volunteers' eyes tended to stay longer on one certain place in the image, but with the altered versions, they would flit across a piece more rapidly. So with the original one, they stay one place and then look at it very carefully. But on the other hand, when it was replaced with the altered one, then the volunteers, in fact, when they watch it, they don't stay in one place. It is said here the flit across, so it means that you don't stay in one place, rather than your eyes move rapidly from one place to another place. I think we don't need to read everything at the end, until the end. So if we go for A, B, C, D, let's see, number A says, they are more carefully put together than they appear. I think maybe this is the answer. Number B, they can be interpreted in a number of different ways. Not different ways, interpretation, I don't find anything. Number C, they challenge our assumptions about shape and color. I didn't find any challenge to assume something about the shape and color. It's not about the shape and color. They are easier to appreciate than many other abstract words. So number D cannot be an option because there is no comparison. Number C, they challenge our assumption. As I said, I didn't find anything, any challenge that the art pieces could challenge us. I didn't find anything. Number B, they can be interpreted in a number of different ways. This is also, I think, not an option, because interpretation, yeah, there was interpretation, but not in this way, that number of different ways. I didn't find any number of ways. So number A should be the number one choice. They are more carefully put together than they appear, and it was said in the beginning that Mondrian's works are deceptively simple. They look simple, they seem simple, apparently they are simple, but they are meticulously composed, they are carefully put together. So if we read A, they are more carefully put together than they appear. This is the right option. So as we solved already 4 of the questions, multiple choice, it's not that easy to solve, but we have seen sometimes you can read, you can find your answers just by reading 2 sentences, the first sentence and the last sentence. Sometimes you need to read almost the entire paragraph. So in fact, you need to change your strategies according to the demand, according to the need of the questions. So we are almost at the end of the session. Today, in fact, we have learned the reading skills we required for solving the MCQ, and we have also learned the common strategies. Those are available on YouTube and on many websites, but we have we tried to follow some effective strategies, and we also solved few questions, multiple questions, 4 of them, by following the steps, the very effective steps and strategies. We also tried to find the common mistakes. These are the mistakes we do. So if we avoid the common mistakes, you could be flawless. And I hope if you practice more and more the MCQ types of questions, you can get a very good score in IELTS.